Hi you guys, it's Asia Marquet here, Lemon Creation, and today I am struggling a little bit with Gelli Plate. Yes, I know who doesn't know how to do the jelly prints. I guess there are people like me. I've done few times already some jelly printing with a tiny bit of success. I can tell you that. I mean, for me, it was a success. For artists who are doing professionally jelly plates, they would just laugh at my progress or at my experience rather. But lately, I don't know, I kind of think that it's been a long time. My jelly plate was in the drawer, and I feel like using it, and then I see so much beautiful texture out there on the social media, the texture created with jelly print, so I decided to just try. And you know me, I am experimenting. So I watched over the last few months so many small, usually they are shorts or reels, which I'm watching, and all I could remember from it, I just put today into action. And here we go. I started with making some prints with the VersaFine Onyx ink, which is permanent, and apparently it's better to use permanent ink because afterwards you put a paint on it. So if you don't use a permanent ink, of course everything is gonna just get destroyed, everything if it comes to stamping. And on top of that, I am adding the chalk acrylics from PaperArtsy. To be honest, those are the best acrylics I have. I haven't got any other acrylics. I think I have some which are different, but they are on the cheap side. So I love them. I love the fact that they have this chalky finish, and so I use them because since I was working for PaperArtsy some time ago, I got to get a few good bottles of these beautiful acrylics. And so here it is. I'm working on my first ever print, and look at that. It actually surprised me. And the stamping is there still in the background. The close-ups didn't work perfectly. I don't know, it's maybe due to the lighting, because we have a snow today and it's kind of gloomy despite the snow, but it's the first day of snow and the light is not perfect. Even though I have my lamps, I couldn't manage to get nice pictures. But well, the first print, I was quite happy with it. For the second print, I decided to use my stencil, and I didn't really know how I should go about it. But because this stencil has the, design which is quite big, well, in some cases, because there are some small, very small squares, but also quite big squares, I managed to actually add through it a paint with the brayer, which surprised me. And here comes my first mistake. Well, with the hindsight, you can say that, yes, I shouldn't have done that. I should have known anyway. But I'm also trying to experiment a little bit with mixing different colors. And this color didn't really work with the green, which you're gonna see in a second. But basically, from what I understood, you kind of have to wait until the first layer is dry to add the last layer, and just quickly after adding the last layer, you just do your print. And what I'm struggling with is also too much or too little of paint I am putting on the jelly plate, because that I got that there has to be just the proper amount. So as you can see, this print is not perfect. I don't like the colors on it. I love the stencil, how it worked, but the colors are not really my cup of tea. So as you can see here, once again, way too much paint. So that I have to work on, because I don't want to waste the paint, first of all. I don't really waste it because, as you can see, I have this piece of paper on the side. It's a printing paper, and I'm adding to this piece of paper the extra paint, and then I'm gonna use this piece of paper. So you're gonna see me also using it, because the paper like that is very cool to actually tear it up later and use it for your projects. So if you stay tuned, you're gonna see what I'm doing with this scrap paper, which I have on the side. And here I actually moved the stencil. When I was applying the paint, the stencil moved, and I don't know why it didn't adhere properly to the paint. Maybe paint was already too dry, I don't know, but as you can see, I have a little bit of the mess, like the lines are in double, so I didn't like that too much. But what I love about the jelly printing is the fact that it's actually quite forgiving. So if you don't like some print, you can always try to add something on top of it, which you cannot do if you work straight away, for example, in an art journal, because then if you waste your page, it goes to the bin. And if it's an art journal with the sewn pages, then what is left to do? You can always work around it, but you know what I mean is the fact that it actually you know, since they are you're working on the single pages, and you can always work on it until the moment you are happy with it. But as I mentioned, I was learning here, and I'm still learning. I think this is the second video with me doing a jelly printing, and the first one was quite short. This one is quite long. You know, I am trying to just do as many prints as I can and learn from my mistakes, because otherwise we'll learn nothing. And here it is again, one of my stencils, and you can see here the brayer sometimes does not work. So I tried really hard to put this green color in the stencil, and it didn't work. So finally I just came to my senses, and I realized that the sponge will be the best way to go. And yes, it was. This stencil at least does not move. So I think with the other one, the paint underneath was quite dry, and that's why it didn't stick to the paint. But this doesn't move, and with the sponge you can have better like a transfer, not transfer, better print. So this is nice also. I don't know what I was doing here, guys. I have no idea. But I think I wanted to remove the paint from the stencil. But I've noticed also that at some points I add way too much paint to the sponge, and that is also a no-no. So you have to be careful also to not add too much. And I also realized that my archival ink is gone, and I cannot make any prints with it, and I do not have black StazOn also, so I was left with the VersaFine. And VersaFine, even though it's permanent, it's drying very slowly. So I had to wait a few good minutes before the ink is dry after applying the second layer. Also with the inside, this combination of the script stamp and the stencil, which is very intricate, very small, it doesn't work. It would work perfectly with the stencil, which has bigger, how can I call it, openings? I don't know, like even the square ones, you know, I used before. But with this one, it doesn't work too much, because the stencil is already so intricate that when you add on top of that a stamp, you know, you don't see the stamp too much, which you can see just about now. Otherwise, I like this print very much. It's quite nice. And this is so cool because, you know, those prints are so completely different, you know. They really look like prints, like from almost like a vintage books or something. I have no idea, but they have this charm I like very much. So I always like, you know, the jelly printing idea, but I never thought I am any good at it. You know, I'm trying to do some some mark makings here, like so with the brayer, but I don't know, at the end I think there was not that much difference. And I used some kind of roll, I think from a used washi tape, to make some circles, and from the brush. And that's also a good thing too. Just try, you know, experiment a little bit. And this is one of the prints I like also. It worked really nicely. The circles are super cool, and like that you can see also you don't really need stamps or stencils. It's nice to have them, but you don't really need them. And what else are we doing here? I think I'm gonna be working a lot now with the blue and the pink. As always, the full list of products you're gonna find in the description box below. So check there for the names of the stencils and of the paints used, paints and other products used in this video. And looking right now at the screen when I'm doing this voiceover, I know also why I don't like or why I was hesitant to do the jelly printing. And once again, guys, look, I put way too much paint. It's also problematic with these small bottles because they are quite hard to actually, sometimes they just drop the paint. The paint is sometimes very liquid. And this one is by far my favorite print ever. But I was trying to tell you why I was reluctant to do the jelly printing. It's because of the mess. I do tend to make mess because, you know, with jelly printing you kind of have to work quickly because, you know, has to be a layer which doesn't dry, so you have to go quickly. Sometimes I was not sure about the paints. I was changing the paints at the last moment, or the stencils or the stamps, and so that's why I used something, I put it on the side, and like that my desk finished completely covered with paints and papers and whatnot. And this is also one of my favorite stencil, not as cool as the one before, because the one before is absolutely my favorite. And I don't know why, don't know if it depends on the paint or whichever other thing I am not taking into account, but I didn't get complete print out of this, the last I don't know, the last printing. And so I tried once again to do the same, and I love how the stencil looks on the jelly plate. Absolutely lovely, better on the jelly plate I think even than on the paper itself. And so when the stencil layer is dried, now I'm adding the top layer, and when the top layer is still wet, straight away I'm putting the paper and just taking or making a print. And look at that, guys, once again the print, which is super cool. And as you can see, the edges are still there, like the paint is still staying there, and I don't know in the middle what happened, why the paint is staying there, but the print is beautiful. And I love very much grunge, so for me it's perfect. I don't mind, like, you know me. And I'm far from perfection, and I do not work to get things super perfect. I work to learn things and to find really what I love to do. And this is always a search for me, you know, finding things for me to love. And that could be a new adventure, I think, because I kind of like it, apart from the mess and from the fact that, yes, oh, look at that. I got some kind of dry paint stuck to it. But apart from the fact that, well, yes, I'm making a mess, and I'm still very, very far from being any type of expert on jelly printing, I still find that it's quite nice, and the prints you get are beautiful. I don't know how that would work in art journal itself, if you had just art journal, if you just put it, I don't know, printed out like a little bit with jelly plate. I'm not sure if that would work, but today I am or I was aiming to make ATC cards, so it's super cool to actually just make prints like that and cut them. And I know artists are doing prints on the tissue paper, on the normal paper, like the paper from printer, and on cardstock. I think also for this project I used mixed media paper, which is called PaintOn, and it has 250 grams, so it's quite big, but no texture, so it's smooth. And here we have the papers which I kind of cleaned my brayer on, so my scrap papers. And you never throw the papers like that. They are sometimes even better than the actual prints, and that's what I'm gonna do today. Also, I'm gonna do today few ATC cards with these prints, with these scrap papers. So here is one of them, and those are the cards I cut. So I use my my guillotine, I think it's called, or my cutter, and I cut the papers into 80 sizes, well, a tiny bit smaller. As you know, I always add the backing to my 80s. And the last 3 cards I'm showing you right now were done actually with the scrap paper, so super nice effect already. And I was not sure what to do with them, but because they have a little bit of blue and the colors are very pastel-y, and I don't know, somehow I had in all the time when I was making them, I had in my head Christmas, make something Christmas, or if not Christmas, at least something wintry. So I decided to use my truly weird Christmas stamp and just stamp the elements on the piece of printing paper and just cut it out and add to the ATC cards. I could have stamped them straight on ATC cards, and I will, you will see why in a moment, but I wanted, because they have the white parts like the head of the reindeers or the stars inside, I wanted to actually add this white to the cards, because as you can see, the cards are pretty much completely covered in color, and you know me, and I like a little bit of white on my cards or on my projects. And the last stamp from this set is this, everything is very grungy on this stamp, it's made on purpose, but it's kind of like a grungy Christmas tree, but the Christmas tree is too big, tiny bit too big for the ATC cards. I could have cut the sides a little bit without really wasting the tree, but I wanted to actually just add smaller elements to the ATC cards. So I am stamping on ATC cards and the same elements, and this is because, as you can see, my stars, for example, have this kind of like a paint dripping from them, and that same thing happened with the antlers of the deer. So just not to waste this part and make it still visible on the cards, the trick is to stamp it on the cards and then add the rest of the stamp, you know, which is cut out from the paper, and like that you will not lose this, you know, these drops which you cannot really cut with the scissors. So you're gonna see that, especially in case of this reindeer, but also the star. You can see the drops are still here, and it still looks so nice and bright. And here we go, the reindeer with the beautiful antlers. Yes, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, and the paint dripping, and yep, if you just place it like that, you still get the rest of the stamp, which is just there, and it looks very nice. It looks like it's finished. And I apparently didn't cut the some parts of it very well. I'm using a normal glue in this case, but you can use also a tacky glue. Later I will be using tacky glue for the sentiments. And well, because I'm adding the winters, or making the ATC wintry one, I decided also to add my dotted stencil, add a few touches of kind of like a snowflake thing happening on the ATCs, and I'm adding it with the cream paste, yes, cream paste from Stamperia. And I got in one of your comments, I got a question if this is Braille stencil. It is not. As far as I know, anyway, it's inspired by the Braille, but I made it by myself, so if there are some words which are recognizable, that was a pure accident, I think. And so I'm gonna finish the cards with my Christmas words, and I cut them in case of this card I'm working on right now. I cut it into 3 parts. The second one I cut in 2 parts, and the third one is just small, just chilling. So I left it like it is. And well, the one thing just before finishing it off, I decided to actually add, or rather darken the edges with the archival ink, with the rest of our archival ink I have. So this pad is only good now for doing just that work, because it doesn't stamp anymore, it's so old. But that helps me to kind of add the contrast between the cards in itself and the backing. I'm gonna this time add white backing to the cards. So the white backing is actually the actual ATC size. So it's like I think 6.4 on 8.9 centimeters. I don't know, I'm sorry, in inches, but that's the actual ATC size. So the ones I was working on are a little bit smaller. And here we go, 2 cards done with the scrap paper, and the third one is actually done with the actual jelly print. Well, they are all done with actual jelly print, but I mean the third one is done with the mixed media paper. And that's it, guys. I hope you like it, and I'm sure you're gonna give me some advices on working with jelly prints, and I appreciate that in advance, because as I mentioned, I'm not still good at it, but I learn. I think I really enjoyed that video. I hope you did as well. If so, please give me a thumbs up or write a comment. And thank you so much for subscribing, for visiting my shop where you can buy all these stencils and stamps and words I used today. And as always, I'm wishing you a beautiful day, and I hope I'm gonna see you soon. Big hugs. Bye bye.